Hello hobby friends, I'm Jason and you're joining me here on Level Up Hobbies. Now today on the channel I'm going to be continuing my Age of Darkness series, and with that I'm going to be painting up a Marine from the Blood Angels Legion. Alright, let's go ahead, let's jump in and start painting.
So here we have our Son of Sanguinius here, and to begin I'm going to give him a nice base coat of black surface primer. You can use whichever primer of your choice. Here I am using the Pro Acryl, just black primer. And to start off, I misjudged and I made it way too thin, so it was pooling up and just kind of just spraying off of the model, not sticking. But I went ahead and tackled that issue and got them all primed up and ready to go. And now I move into the first layer, just that base layer of color for the armor. And for that I made a 50-50 mix of Khorne Red and Wordbearer's Red. And I added that Wordbearer's Red to just to deepen that red color, just kind of desaturate it just a little bit, more for the shading than anything. It laid down really smooth and had great coverage. And I wanted to work those shadows in to be a little bit deeper and not be straight black. So adding that Wordbearer's Red to the Khorne Red really achieved that result there. They're not over the top. It's not super dark red, but it's dark enough that once I start adding my next layer that you can see a transition there. And that leads us into the next layer, which is going to bring out that pop of red that the Sons of Sanguinius are known for. And this is Mephiston Red. So again, through the airbrush, except at this point, I really kept that color angled down about 30 degrees, just so I didn't fill in all of those shadows with this really vibrant red. I did obviously move the model around and hit the boots, hit the lower legs and stuff like that, and just really built up this color so I have a nice vibrant red looking down. Now at this point I start picking out some details for secondary colors. I'm starting off with all of the black details, so it's going to encompass, like the trim on like the shoulder pauldrons, the bodysuit, the gun, just various details that I'm picking out just to accentuate that red color. And you'll notice like the color of the armor looks great right now, and I mean I could probably slap a wash on this and be done with it just to play. But once you start adding these details, that's when the model really starts to come to life. I mean, you add one color for the details, and then the next, and then the next, and it really just builds on just the looks of the model. It's kind of a phenomenal thing. So I've got all the black details blocked in, and now I'm using Retributor Armour, and again I'm just picking out gold details. Again, this just really builds up the detail work on this model, and you can add as many or as few as you like. It really kind of depends on the chapter. I don't like using gold on models. I don't know, I just think it's too gaudy. And for most models, I don't think it looks well, but there's specific ones like the Blood Angels, Thousand Suns, I think look great with a lot of gold, and like Emperor's Children and stuff. So there's a few that it really pops and it looks good with their colors. But pick out your details however you want to, and build up those layers. All right, so we got all these colors blocked in. Now it's time to make an oil wash. For this, I chose to use Alizarin Crimson and Dioxanine Purple. And then I used them in approximately a 50-50 mix there. And then thinned it out with some oil spirits. Obviously, the thicker you make it, the darker it's going to be. The thinner, the more it's going to flow. So I made a fairly thin wash, and I'm just flooding it, into all of the recesses. Now I chose to go this way instead of a black because I don't really think black is going to add anything to this armor. It's kind of I try not to use black as much for like my washes and stuff if I can help it, just because black is kind of just a dead color. It doesn't really add anything. Whereas if you're using a tone or a shade of the color, of the armor, it will actually, do a lot more and add a lot more visual value to your piece. If you're going to use black, I would suggest going with a chromatic black, which is a mixture of, different colors. Usually it's a color in its complement, but just watch out and experiment with those first before you just mix up a color and throw it on your model. And the great thing about oil washes is if you get a little overzealous, like I did in a couple spots here, you can just grab a sponge or a Q-tip and just clean up that excess once you're done. If it starts to dry a little bit, just moisten it a little bit with some mineral spirits, and then that excess oil wash will come right off. And now I take Wild Rider Red and start highlighting up the armor. For this, I just did hard edge highlights throughout. Maybe make some of those edges more prominent if it's on an upper area, like the crest on the helmet, the tops of the pauldrons, such as that. Now, when you're highlighting up red, you can go either the orange route or the pink route. And pink, I mean I would go more like fleshy tones than an actual pink. But Wild Rider Red is more of the orange spectrum of the red. So just pick one and go with it. And at this point, I decide to knock out those lenses. So for that, I blocked them in just in flat black. And then I take Warpstone Glow and I apply a thin line along the bottom edge of that lens. Once that's done, I follow it up with another line using Moot Green, except I keep that more towards the front of that lens. And I finish it up with just the white dot highlight at the back of the lenses. If you don't have steady enough hands to do this or a sharp enough brush, don't worry about it. You can always just block it in white, and then I like to use Hexwraith Flame and just flood that into the lenses, and that can give you a nice kind of glowy lens instead of going this route. And now we knock out those black details, the highlights of the black details that is, using Gray Seer. Very simple hard edge highlights, just wherever you want that eye to be drawn. And then I paint the rim of the base black, add a decal for the Blood Angels, and I give it all a nice coat of matte varnish just to lock it all in. To knock out the base, I start by just painting the surface of the base in a medium brown. And this is just to give me a base color to work with whenever I apply my Geek Gaming Scenics. And now I just kind of paint on some tacky glue using an old brush. Try to clean off any excess glue off the edges before I dip it. And then once it's ready, I just dip it in the Geek Gaming Scenics mix. For this one, I'm using just the Arid Earth mix, and make sure it's fully coated, shake off any excess, and let that dry.
Hey guys, thanks again for joining me here today on Level Up Hobbies as I painted up this Blood Angel Marine for your Age of Darkness Legion. If you enjoyed the video, please give me a like and subscribe down below. Don't forget to hit that bell icon so you can be notified whenever I publish new material. Thanks again, and remember, build, paint, and play tabletop games. Later guys.